letting you know. We'll see if it works. Testing, testing, testing. Oh man, I never know if this works or not. This is such a pain in the ass lately. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Right now it seems like it's not. Oh, good, it's working. I was watching this minute. Hang tight. I'm setting things up. We will be starting very soon. Mom Brain, what's the Pokemon?
Number?
605.
Say that. ELGYEM. Elgin? Elgin?
Can I take a look at it? Can't be easy. It's got to be one that doesn't make any sense. Why don't they have the damn phonetic thing? Elgin. Let's just do that. Elgin. Because I don't know. Hello, chat. I see you now. Getting everything together. There we go. Okay. All right, Mom Brain, you ready?
Sure am.
3, 2, 1. Go Nintendo Podcast, Webisode 605, the LGM Podcast.
We think that's what it is.
Sure, LGM. Mom Brain.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about LGM, please?
Surely. Elgium is a light blue extraterrestrial Pokemon with an oblong head with depressions on either side. It has black symmetrical lines going down the front of its head. On the front of its head are shiny green button-like eyes. Its hands have 3 finger-like digits, one red, one green, one yellow.
I know.
It has short, stubby legs and a small tail. LGM controls incredible psychic power, which it uses to squeeze its opponent's brains, causing them headaches.
That's what I do.
I have a headache today.
Now you know why I have it.
Overall, LGM has quite the welcoming and informative behavior, but it squeezes your brain. It is, well, excuse me, squeezing my guts. It's willing to help in stressful and otherwise difficult situations. However, LGM can become fully involved in something it feels to be important and protect that with its life.
Pull it together. Pull it together.
Sometimes there's, errors, and it's,
No, I don't know what any of that means.
Well,
sometimes there are errors, and it's,
Sometimes there's like a misspelling or a, grammatical error, and as you're reading it, you realize
an error over here.
Yeah, I know.
You have an error there. What are you trying to go to?
I got a health
Unicorn
insurance
forum?
Document that I'm supposed to look at. I want to see how much this G-dang boot.
Want to see how much it costs to get your own unicorn.
It's priceless. So LGM is number 605. It's a psychic type, 50 to 50 male to female ratio. They're 1 foot tall. They weigh 20 pounds, and you can't teach that.
When they do it in wrestling, it's not also how heavy they are. You have to do it after the height. You know that.
But I gotta tell. Okay.
So you say their height, can't teach that, and then, they weigh whatever.
Great.
You
Can I go to the bathroom?
just got here.
I should have peed before I came down. I forgot.
How do you forget
I
to
was in
pee?
a rush bringing your hat.
Why? Did I rush you? I said, can you bring my hat down?
I'm
That's all I said.
saying. Do you
Sure. I'll talk to everybody else that's here.
Good. You all just have a really great time.
This is Mom Brain's new thing during the podcast. I have to go to the bathroom. I will see you in a half hour.
What happens is I pee and then I put like some dishes in the dishwasher.
No, what happens is you take your phone with you. I know, this time you're not. Hello to Tails and Colma and Dew and Cedar and Ice and Dorgan and Spagman and the Bionic Asphalt and Oystein and Green Bull and Chad and Josh and whoever else I haven't seen, and Giant Reggie. Thanks for coming in and joining us. Yeah, we were a little late starting today because my schedule screwed me up, so I apologize. But Spagmon, I have the answer to your question. You send your podcast music to, hello, Blunters. You send your podcast music to gnpodcastmusic@gmail.com. The letter G, the letter N, podcastmusic@gmail.com. That's the second time I did it. We would be happy to have your podcast music. Thank you for asking. Hello, Angelo. Hello, Ryan. So yeah, send your music there. I don't think we're going to be doing music today because it's just me and Mom Brain. No one else is around. Nikki Hill is at work. Our type is moving, I believe, and his brother Kirby is helping him move. And everyone else that would normally be here is busy. So it's just Mom Brain and I today. Mom Brain, it's just Mom Brain and me today. But I'll be covering whatever news there is, and Mom Brain certainly has plenty to talk about because she's been playing a lot of games this week, one in particular. Hello, Sean. Sean says, can we exchange Switch codes? Yeah, I should put my code up. Some of you guys have already added me on the Switch, but yeah, I should put it up on Twitter or something like that. I don't remember what my code is off the top of my head, but I will get that for you.
I'm back, guys. Did you miss me?
You all right?
What do you mean? No, I am not all right.
No, I want to make sure like you're here now.
Until I need something.
I do this.
Let's be honest. What do I really contribute?
What do you really need is the question. Well, what do you contribute? That's up to you. Oh, no answer.
Because what do I know?
What do you mean, what do you know? What kind of statement is that?
What do I know about Nintendo, really?
You've played way more Zelda this week than I have.
I've played way more Zelda this week than I've done pretty much anything else.
Well, when you get a snow day.
This has been great. Well, we'll talk about it.
I'd buy that for $1 wants to know if you wash your hands. No, she didn't.
Smell.
Stop. Jeez, you can't, if I'm smell and I push it up against your nose, you can't smell.
Can smell.
Stop! They're just cold. They're just cold.
I washed them.
Cold from cold urine.
Cold piss. I got cold piss.
I got the cold piss.
Wait, what was
I don't remember, but we can't think of it now because you won't be able to stop laughing.
The ambulance?
Give him a ambulance. All right, so I'll go with.
I think that's what it was.
I'll go into whatever the top stories are for this week. There weren't too many. It was a quieter week because everybody's playing the Switch instead of talking about it. Excuse me. But I'll tell you about what was there. Hello, Ma Flash. Hello, Yoshi Kid Vlogs. That sounds fun. Hello, Magic Tech Review. So, what were our top stories this week? The Switch is facing a virtual sellout in the UK. Pretty much sold out. And especially by now because this was posted on March 12th. And we're at the end of the week now. So, it was stated that 80,000 units sold during the Switch's opening weekend in the UK. And remember, that's double what the Wii U did. And then HMV's head of technology and games, Phil Browse, says, we satisfied all pre-orders and blasted through the remainder of our initial allocation. Every single one of our pre-order customers received their console on launch day, and we're optimistic that with some great games due to be released, Switch can establish itself as a successful third console in the market. We're a bit tight on stock, but we're looking forward to more deliveries this week. GameSeek's managing director said that stock levels are at 0 for them. And one manager told MCV that they're yet to hear from Nintendo about when the next batch would actually arrive. And that particular manager said he heard some customers might have to wait until April. They say we are in communications with Nintendo, but there is not a confirmed date as of yet. With Mario Kart coming in April, I would hope there would be more stock before then, but that's not confirmed. Yes, you would hope so. And obviously we have another top story coming later today that indicates that more stock will be coming, but I don't want to spoil that for people who don't know, so we'll get into that later. But yes, more stock is coming. D-Dark has the top-rated comment, and he says, oh no, some retailers in the UK are starting to report sellouts. Better downvote this. Can't have the last beacon of doom and gloom evaporate. Hurry, haters. We must rain on the Switch parade. Yeah, isn't that the truth, my friend? I've been talking... Whoops. What is this? I've been talking about that a lot this week lately, not on GoNintendo, but with like people I know through work and social media and stuff like that. You know, it's always got to be doom and gloom to paint the appropriate picture of the narrative. And there was one article I didn't even mention on GoNintendo.com. I made mention of it on Twitter. That said, the article title was Switch. It was about Japanese Switch sales. And the article title, not word for word, but it said Switch sales already starting to slow down. And this was data on the second week of sales in Japan. Yeah, things slow down when the system's sold out. Nintendo has said it's sold out. So, of course, sales slow down because there's not any units to move. And I'm like, how does somebody write this article? How does somebody write that headline and feel okay with themselves? And the article was full with all kinds of other issues in there as well. Plus, it said the Wii U came out in 2009, which isn't really right because we're in 2017, so the Wii U's certainly not that old. But yeah, you know, that article was put out there, and I'm like, man, some people, A, don't care, or B, just want to create controversy and make the headlines that'll bring in the clicks, and it's frustrating. It is very frustrating. And it goes hand in hand with
fake news.
Fake news. It goes hand in hand with the story this week about the guy that put the micro SD card in his Switch, and he noticed that it was melted, and he was like, "Uh-oh, the Switch melts the micro SD card." So he put that on Twitter, but he actually followed through to see what was going on, and it turns out it wasn't the Switch. It was the micro SD card that he had. This micro SD card was known for overheating in pretty much any product you put it in. He read the reviews on Amazon and saw that it was happening to people in their cameras and in their computers and wherever you use it. And it was an issue with the card itself. And it was a SanDisk card, and SanDisk reached out to him on Twitter and said, "We'll replace the card. It's a known issue." So he went so far as to post on Twitter that it wasn't the Switch. Like he found out the card was the issue, and then on his blog he put up an article explaining the whole situation and apologizing. You know, saying like, you know, he didn't. The way it played out, he wasn't trying to badmouth the Switch. He just honestly thought it was the Switch that was doing it. So, and he also rounded up other articles that talked doom and gloom about the Switch based on what he said. So there's like, I don't know, 7 or 8 articles at the time of him posting his blog saying like, another thing wrong with the Switch, it melts SD cards. And so, you know, but he, like I said, he went the extra mile to correct the issue he had, or the mistake he had made, and let people know that it wasn't the Switch's fault, it was the micro SD card's fault. But, you know, all it takes is that headline to get out there, and then that people think that's the truth, the information. They don't bother to read anything else, though. Spagmon says, what do you think of Stone Fox Media, a YouTuber? I am unfamiliar with them. Should I check out their content? Hello, Malik Halo. When I'm on YouTube, like I don't watch much in the way of Nintendo stuff. I'm watching other stuff that I'm interested in. So I don't really watch any of that stuff unless I'm watching for work. I do love Nintendo, but I'm on Nintendo overload all day. So I'm not really watching that stuff. I'll be watching things about like wrestling or tech outlets and stuff like that are mostly focused on like old tech and things like that. But yeah, I'm not too familiar with what's going on with YouTube if it's video game stuff. I don't know. I just don't watch it. Mom Brain, what do you watch on YouTube?
Nothing. I don't watch YouTube.
You know, you should watch YouTube. There's some things you'd like on there. I'm sure there's somebody that has like a daily unicorn news show.
I don't really need that.
What if you don't think you need it, but once you read it, you realize, oh my God, I've wasted my life. How could I have not been following this all along?
I don't know.
You okay? Everything all right? What's the matter? Talk to me. Too much Zelda today? Was that it? Yeah.
No. I don't know. I feel like I could be kind of coming down with a little something. That scritchy throat, foggy head feeling.
Oh. End the line is what you're saying.
Yeah, this is my last podcast.
This is an interview in Edge with the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild director Hidemaru Fujibayashi. And he talks about, let's see, inspiration. He says, I was rather inspired by playing Minecraft and Terraria. I was able to learn from the gameplay and the possibilities found in those games. I can learn from the sense of adventure, exploration, and how it inspired curiosity. When I first started playing Zelda, I told you it reminded me a bit of Minecraft. The roaming of the countryside and the music or the ambient noises and stuff like that, or the feeling of exploration. Yeah, it really reminded me of Minecraft, except I feel that Breath of the Wild's map is jam-packed with different things to do. You're not really running around too much in open spaces where you can't at least see something you want to investigate. Where Minecraft is, big open spaces with little to the exploration in and of itself in Minecraft is exciting, but the outside of the land having like mountains and maybe your odd town or two, it's just pretty much different types of lands, which is fine. That's not a knock against Minecraft. I love Minecraft. I just feel that Zelda is very densely populated with things that you can see that you want to do or want to explore. Be it towns or certain enemies or land formations that are unique or treasure chests or, all kinds of stuff like that. Wobble Bobble says, I have to say, I'm glad to see these interviews with the actual director of the game. Al Newman did a great job producing, but little should be more aware that Fujibayashi ran this show. I think he means more should know. It seems like with the launch of the Switch, Nintendo's been very active about letting their different developers get out in front of their games or their hardware rather than just being like, here's Miyamoto, here's Al Newman. Like, we're getting a look at some of the other guys that got stuff going on, because obviously The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild had 300 people working on it. It's not a one-person game. So while Al Newman, heads up the project, obviously, there were a whole bunch of other people that were really important to it, with Mr. Hidemaru being one of them. So it is cool to see that stuff. I agree. I've been thinking the same thing and noticing that as I've been sharing news on GoNintendo, recognizing that a whole bunch of different developers at Nintendo are actually getting to speak about their games, which is something that doesn't usually happen. Hello, Red Dragon. Yes, Red Dragon, I know. Red Dragon says, totally forgot about podcasts and how you're an hour ahead now.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that happens. I forget about that, too. It only comes up when I talk to Nintendo because he is not the hour difference. So, yeah. So something interesting came up this week. So In Breath of the Wild, I don't know how many other games, but in Breath of the Wild, you might notice a little issue with some frame rate problems. They can get it can get a little chuggy during certain spots, but
I just had that happen.
it can also get chuggy not in spots that are densely populated or anything. So we've been wondering, if it's a lack of optimization on Nintendo's part, or that's just the system is being pushed to its limits, blah blah blah. But this information comes from a Switch developer who wishes to remain anonymous. He says, I noticed in Fast RMX where I got where I got periodical frame drops. Periodical.
Isn't that like a
look? That's what he says. I'm reading what he says. While everyone was always saying that it's perfectly locked 60 frames per second experience. It wasn't game breaking, but it made me curious. Driving in circles also made the periodical nature so much more apparent. Then I also had these in I Am Setsuna, which to me made no sense at all, especially after watching Digital Foundry's comparison to the PS4 version, where they said the Switch version was perfectly locked to 30 frames per second. Having them on multiple games like that, and none of them made sense, it got me thinking. At home, I turn on Wi-Fi only when I need it, basically, so it's not always available. During I Am Setsuna session, I checked the status LED, and sure enough, it was off. I then delved into the internet settings of the Switch and found the auto connect option and turned it off. And voila, no more frame issues in I Am Setsuna and Fast RMX. And only the usual minor ones in Breath of the Wild and very specific foliage, it's pronounced foliage areas, and no more heavy random ones. So he's saying that these frame rate issues could be tied to a Wi-Fi mistake, which seems crazy at first, but apparently it is something that could happen. Now, we go on to hear that this is an issue that apparently Nintendo is aware of, and it will be fixed in the next firmware update. But that's speculation right now. So all of this is speculation, but obviously it's coming from someone familiar with the Switch. So, hello, Joe Shamadou. Is it going to be something related to Wi-Fi, or is it something else? I guess we'll find out in the next firmware update. But if you are seeing these same issues like this guy was, saying Fast RMX or I Am Setsuna, do a test. Turn off your Wi-Fi on your system and see if those frame rate issues still pop up. It'll be interesting to find out. JLA Timer 11 says, from what I read earlier about this, it was only related to Fast. Has something changed to where this could improve other games as well? I don't know. You're going to have to test on your own system. I haven't had any issues with Fast RMX and I haven't played I Am Setsuna. Zelda, I've had the issues, but only in the high intensity area, so I'm not surprised there. But again, I don't know how widespread of an issue this is, but it'll be interesting to see if it is fixed in the next update. Or I guess I should say if it is addressed in the next update. So there's been talk of Switch games coming, we'll say multi-platform games coming out on the Switch and costing more on the Switch. And some of those games are retail, obviously, and those retail games are $10 more. So there's been discussion about that, and people are saying, well, the cartridge costs more to make, so that's why consumers have to pay a higher price at retail. And while you might not like that, you can, or I should say, while I might not like that, I can understand it, because physically producing a cartridge or a game card does cost more than a DVD. But apparently there might be a little bit more to it than that. So this is the information we know right now. Publishers and developers are free to set the price of their games, and the cost of manufacturing a Switch game is higher, like I said. Switch game cards cost more to make, and the cost of the card differs depending on the storage space of that card. But you could have a large run of a smaller size Switch game card and have that cost the same amount as a small run of a larger size Switch game card. So, whatever the sizes are, I don't know off the top of my head, but like a 32 gig card, we'll say, you could get let's say you could get a large shipment of that for a certain price, or you could get a 64 gig card, which costs more to make, but get a smaller shipment of it, so the prices would equal out. Then on top of that, Nintendo apparently has a policy that the Switch and eShop games should cost the same as their physical versions. So people are like, all right, I get it, whatever. Game cards cost more because they cost more to make. Then why is the eShop listing also the same price? Why do I have to pay the same price when I'm only getting digital? And apparently that's because Nintendo wants to make sure that their retail partners are happy. So if Nintendo's going to offer, or a company, let's just say Sonic, for example, Sonic Mania comes out, and let's say we're to do a physical release, which a lot of people are hoping for. I know they have a physical release, but with a download code, but a lot of people want like an actual physical release. So say that comes out, Sega puts it out for whatever, $30. If they're going to do the retail release, that would be $30. And if they're going to do the eShop release, that would also have to be $30. Sega couldn't say like, oh, it's only digital, we want to do $20 on eShop. No, you can't do that. They have to be the same price because Nintendo doesn't want to make their retail partners angry because obviously they need retail partners to sell not just their own games, but their hardware as well. So if retailers see that Nintendo's letting these companies sell their games on the eShop for less, they're going to be like, well, customers are going to want to go online to get their games because it costs less there. So it's a complicated situation. But again, there's ways to avoid that. You can have a company eat the costs, which isn't the best way to run a company. But also, a lot of indie developers are looking at this and going or foregoing a retail release on the Switch because they want to keep the price the same as other platforms. So if they only do digital, they can make the price there the same as the other platforms. Ninty Riff says, duh, it costs more than a Blu-ray, but that doesn't mean that devs shouldn't eat the extra cost. Trust me when I say that people are not going to want to pay $10 extra for a Switch game. When it comes to the Switch, I've actually been pretty willing to buy games I might not even buy otherwise for any system for the sake of the portability. But that extra $10 might have me skip the game completely. I know this isn't the case for everyone, but I think generally the safe thing to do for third parties would be price parity with other platforms. Well, yes. But again, it all depends on the size of the company. If it is an indie developer, they're not going to have the same amount of funds where they can eat a cost to pass on to the consumer. They're already going to try and do that in some other areas. But yeah, you can't expect them to eat a $10 cost on every copy sold, especially if they're going the physical route, because that's going to cost them more to print to begin with. So you have to be realistic in that stuff. And really what it is Nintendo's policy that's causing the issue. And I can't say that Nintendo's wrong with the policy because they need to make sure their retail partners are happy. But you would like to see maybe there'd be some middle road there. Maybe we could get the price closer to what the other versions are costing, or maybe there could be some added bonuses for Switch versions. I don't know. I don't know. But that's the case. So for Smash Brothers Amiibo, CPSIA listings popped up. These are the listings that let us know
Everything okay?
when new Amiibo are coming. So we have 4 new listings for Amiibo. And what we know about this Amiibo is, or these Amiibo is, they're tied to Smash Brothers. So that has lots of people think they have. So the listings have the letters AA, and each listing has a pair of letters that lets us know what it's tied to. And all the previous Smash Brothers ones have AA. So these are Smash Brothers related. So we're thinking Bayonetta, because that Amiibo hasn't come out yet. Cloud, that Amiibo hasn't come out yet. Corrin, that Amiibo hasn't come out yet. So those are 3 that we know of. But what's the 4th? What's it tied to? Is it a female version of Corrin? I don't know. Is it something new altogether? There's been talk of Smash Brothers coming to the Switch, the Wii U version coming to the Switch, but with new content and new characters. Could that be what this is? Lots of people are like, Ice Climbers are happening. This is finally it. I don't know. But what we know for a fact is 4 Smash Brothers Amiibo are on the way. So when are we going to hear about these? I don't know. And at the very least, we can expect 3 of them to be ones we already know of, but that 4th one could be a mystery. Vinloria says, we're still waiting for Cloud, Bayonetta, and Corrin, right? Plus all 3 have 2 costumes. Yeah, maybe that could be it. Well, like I said, I think if we're going to have like an Amiibo that's one character that gets an alternate, I think Corrin makes most sense because you can pick female or male Corrin. So gender, the male or female gender choice for an Amiibo makes sense for Corrin. But yeah, maybe there could be one with another costume or something. We don't know for sure. But Amiibo are coming. So we have some information from Super Data, who's collected their information from Famitsu and GFK and some other outlets to look at basically how many units the Switch sold during its first week. Now, these are not specific numbers. These are as close as we're going to get. And some of this data is from the first couple days, and some of this data is from the first week, but none of it's from more than after the first week. So rough estimate here. Rough estimate puts us at 1.5 million units sold worldwide. That would be 500,000 units sold in the U.S. alone. 360,000 were sold in Japan. And Europe, quote, isn't far behind, unquote. Far behind. 85,000 units were sold in the UK. 110,000 units were sold in France. And 89% of Switch owners have bought Zelda Breath of the Wild. And this would equal 1.34 million units in sales for the game. But that doesn't include digital. And that also doesn't include the Wii U version, and that also doesn't include the digital Wii U version. So it's missing a lot there, obviously. But still, a roughly 90% attach rate for The Legend of Zelda worldwide is pretty crazy. And again, I don't know if Nintendo's going to put out specific details that tell us how much the system moved in its first 30 days or anything like that. We have other indicators that seem to point to why the system is doing well, which we'll get into later. But until unless Nintendo doesn't put out that information, and these are the statistics we have to go on. Oh my God, is this new? We have a top-rated comment in below it. It says this is a reply to Mockster's comment. Has that been added in for me? Did T27 Duck add that in as a feature? So now I know when somebody's replying to someone else. This is amazing. He says, if you've been disappointed with Nintendo's E3s for the past decade, I don't know what to tell you. E3 2010, E3 2013, E3 2014 were all hype AF for Nintendo fans. 2016 almost doesn't count because Nintendo basically told us to keep our expectations low, and 2015 at least had the Nintendo World Championship to watch. In the past decade, the only completely disappointing E3s were 2008, which people argue sucked for everyone, and 2012. I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate you talking to each other on GoNintendo. But yeah, you know, those are not conversations that are going to go anywhere. You're not going to be able to, like, here's the good years, 2008, 2004, whatever. Like, it's all subjective. It's all subjective. But everybody knows Cesaro is the best wrestler. Is he? Pound for pound, Cesaro is the best wrestler. Yes. Who else would you say is the best wrestler? Sami Zayn? He's a great wrestler. He's a great wrestler, but he's not the best.
I mean, Sami Zayn's pretty darn great.
Sami Zayn, I give an 8.5. Cesaro, 10.
Excuse me. No, Cesaro loses at least half a point for his dumb music. And Sami Zayn,
now, hold on.
Sami Zayn's music is perhaps some of the best music in the WWE.
Cesaro didn't pick his music, and he knows his music's bad.
It doesn't matter. I know I'm overweight. It doesn't make me skinnier.
But you can change that. He can't change his music.
He can't change his music.
That's not his decision.
He can change his music. If he complains enough, he gets. You listen to me, Cesaro.
If anybody knows more about the wrestling business, it's me, Cesaro.
You started a campaign on Twitter. And
he's openly talked. Hello, gambler. He's openly talked about it in interviews.
He should do something about it.
You know what Sami Zayn should do something with? He should do something with his placement on the card because he loses all the time.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Do you want to play a Switch in the dock, but you're afraid that the dock is going to scratch your Switch?
No.
Me neither, because ours is okay. But if you're having this problem, all you got to do is get yourself a nice little USB-C extension cable.
Oh, okay.
You plug that into the dock where the Switch sits, so you nestle it down in there. And then you plug it into the Switch itself. And then you can put the Switch wherever you want. It doesn't have to sit in the dock. You could leave it next to the dock.
You know where you can put your Switch.
So, you know, I don't know how much you want to leave your Switch outside of the dock plugged into the TV when you're playing. And please note, if you are doing this, if you're going to use an extension cable so that your Switch doesn't have to go into the dock, please make sure wherever you set up your Switch, it is properly ventilated. You don't want to lay the Switch down on a table because it won't be properly ventilated. Think about how it is in the Switch dock. Think about how it's oriented in there. That's how you need to have this system. Or you could have it on a stand or something like that, because that will still help it ventilate as well. Just be careful. Be careful. Nintendo obviously doesn't want you doing this, but it's not like a hack or anything. It's literally a cable. So
the one thing Nintendo doesn't want you doing in the secret to why it works. Click, 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 click. The one weird thing Nintendo doesn't want you to know about.
Switch fans are doing this one weird thing, and it's blown their minds. Wolfstrassen says, "Do anyone actually scratch his Switch like this? Do anyone? I know no one with that issue. I don't know anybody personally with a scratched Switch. No. I don't know anybody with any Switch issues really at all. Personally, yeah. We were talking to our good friend, and he writes for Prima, among other things, Chris Buffa. He was saying when the Switch screen scratching news came out, he became absolutely paranoid, and he's been like very, very gently making sure he puts the Switch in the dock because he's afraid of scratching. I'm like, I think you'll be okay, but we'll see what happens. Factor 5. Who, Mom Brain, you know, obviously worked on the Rogue Squadron series.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
As well as Turrican and some other games. They kind of fizzled out because the last couple of games they've done really haven't been all that hot for a whole bunch of different reasons. But now it seems Factor 5 is not dead. Factor 5 has risen from the ashes. And here's a couple interesting things. This comes from the studio co-founder, Julian Egebrecht. And he's been the that's the original co-founder. So he's still involved. He says they got back the Turrican license. So if they want to make another Turrican game, they can. Which would be great. We haven't seen a new Turrican game in a while. But he also, it seems like they're working on the Switch. He hasn't officially come out and said Factor 5 is making a Switch game. But in this interview, he talks all about how easy it is to develop for the Switch. So he says stuff like the Switch, performance-wise, is between a Wii U and an Xbox One. Developing for it is easy or even easier than on the PS4. It has all the modern GPU standards, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, he's intimately familiar
There you have it.
with the hardware of the Switch. And Factor 5 and Nintendo used to be buddy-buddy. So it's not a stretch to think that they're working on something. I hope they are. Setzer Gabbiani says, talk about rising from the grave. Wow. I'd love for them to collaborate with Disney to get the Rogue games on Virtual Console. Yeah, I would. I mean, I'd like to see the Rogue games on a Virtual Console. There's the N64 one and then the 2 GameCube follow-ups. That would be wonderful. But I would love to be playing a new Rogue Squadron game from them. That would be awesome. But yeah, now they'd have to deal with Disney because obviously the Star Wars franchise is owned by someone else since Factor 5 is working on Star Wars games. I did a Talking Points video this week about there's a game collection coming out, Mom Brain. It's called the Disney Afternoon Collection.
Oh, DuckTales. What's the one with the airplanes with their Tailspin?
Yeah, yes.
DuckTales, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck?
Yes. You're on a roll.
Chippendale Rescue Rangers. Gummy Bears? No, they run in the morning. Darkwing Duck, DuckTales, Tailspin, Rescue Rangers. Marsupilami?
I mean, some people might include Marsupilami. That's a little bit later. So there were 2 DuckTales games, 1 Darkwing Duck, 1 Tailspin, 1 Chippendale. And then what the hell's the one we're forgetting? This is terrible. What is the one we're forgetting? Oh, no, there's 2 Chippendale games and 2 DuckTales games. That's what it is because there's 6 games.
So we're good.
Chippendale 1 and 2, DuckTales 1 and 2, Tailspin, That was such a brain fart. Darkwing Duck, and what the hell? Why can't we do this? This is terrible. Chip and Dale 1 and 2. DuckTales 1 and 2. Tailspin. And what the hell was the one I just said? Darkwing Duck. There, that's it. God damn it, that was tough. Holy shoot. Having a lot of trouble here. My
Everybody
goodness.
all right?
Brain fart. It's the weekend. So they announced this collection. So obviously they're all NES games. And I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome on the Switch. It's not coming to the Switch.
What?
It's not coming to the 3DS either. Xbox One, PS4, and PC.
What did Nintendo do that pissed somebody off?
This is one of those games. I'm not for. I don't support port begging or anything like that. Like there are certain games I would like on the Switch, but I'm not about to, complain about it. Not that people who complain about it are wrong, but like this, we're talking about the Disney Afternoon Collection, 6 games that were on the NES. That's where people remember them from. Now we have a collection of games, or a collection of these games, and it's not coming to a Nintendo system. That blows my mind. Mr. Rye has the top-rated comment. He says, it's not coming because the Switch is not kiddie enough. Just look at the commercials. Teens and adults everywhere. Nintendo just can't win. And here's the thing. I did a talking points video about it. And in my video, I said, it could not be coming to the Switch, and I don't have to like that. But if Capcom would at least give a reason, then I could be like, well, I disagree with that reason, but at least I have an explanation. All Capcom has said is, we don't have plans for other platforms at this time. They haven't explained why it's not coming to Switch. They just said they don't have plans for it. Give me a reason why. I don't care how dumb the reason is. Tell me because you don't feel like doing it. As long as I have a reason, at least I can move on a little bit. Right now, all I know is you're not doing it, and that's it. Bothers me to no end, which is why I did talking points about it. North America. This week's, as Nikki Hill likes to say, uploads from Nintendo to the Wii U, the 3DS, and the Switch. Here's what you get this week. The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. So we had a little bit of a delay there, and a new date was given, and that date has been met. So this is The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus, available both on the eShop and at retail. I wonder what the price is there, if it's the same price. But if you haven't played any version of The Binding of Isaac, it's a fantastic game. You should definitely check it out. Randomly generated maps, so you'll never play the same room twice. More than 11,000 unique room combinations or configurations. And they say a nearly endless variety of enemies, items, challenges, and secrets. It's a great game. It also has co-op. You get, I believe, up to 4 people playing together. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Plus, if you go the retail version, it has a fancy reversible cover. It also has a couple sticker sheets in it. And it also has the fantastic instruction booklet. So The Binding of Isaac is basically the original Legend of Zelda, but with some different tweaks and only dungeons. So the instruction booklet for The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus is done in the style of the instruction booklet from the original Legend of Zelda. It's really well done. So check that out. Tomorrow, Corp finally got out their games that they were trying to bring over to the Switch that have been on previous Nintendo platforms. So you have Human Resource.
Nintendo platform.
Why'd you say that?
I don't know. It sounded funny when you said it.
Human Resource Machine, Little Inferno, and World of Goo. Those are all available on the Switch as well. The Wii U got Picross 3D. The DS game is available on the Wii U Virtual Console. Also on Switch is the King of Fighters 94. That's the Neo Geo game. 3DS got Double Breakout, Sudoku Party, Fairune 2 demo version. And the Wii U got Double Breakout 2, Alien Cleanup Elite, Vrog, Skyforce Anniversary, and Sudoku Party. So there is a considerable amount of content this week, especially for the Switch. Steister. It's a name that's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Steister says, really glad to see Tomorrow Corp games on the Switch. I've played them all already, but I think I'm going to buy World of Goo again and remember why I loved it so much back in the WiiWare days. I'm going to do the exact same thing, Steister. I love the World of Goo on the Wii through WiiWare, And I do want to play it again. And I'm going to do so. I'm going to get it on the Switch. And yes, it has pointer controls. Obviously, the Joy-Con doesn't have like the IR pointer like the Switch or like the Wii did with the IR sensor bar and stuff like that. But they've used motion basically to mimic it. And you might have to recalibrate a bit while you're playing, but it works the same way. You're still doing pointer controls. Our friends over at Game Explain showed it off, and our very own Nintendo showed it off as well. So check out their YouTube channels if you want to see how the pointer controls work on World of Goo. Why do you do this now? Why do you do this? All right, Europe this week's digital uploads from Nintendo. What did Europe get? Mom Brain, would you like to hear what Europe got?
I hope it's a Hello Kitty something.
Well, fingers crossed. Europe got Neo Geo's King of Fighters 94 as well on Switch. You can download the Splatoon 2 Global Test Fire, which doesn't start until the 24th, I believe, but you can get in on it now if you're ready. Yes, Oystein, we're going to do that. Parents Play is definitely going to have a World of Goo episode. I'm glad you're excited for it. Wii U got Double Breakout 2, Skyforce Anniversary, Alien Cleanup Elite, Dungeon Explorer, that's the TurboGrafx 16 game, and also Neutopia, the TurboGrafx 16 game. 3DS got Kung Fu Fight, Frontier Days, Founding Pioneers, special deals like always. On the new 3DS only is 6180 The Moon, 4 Bombs, Don't Crash, and Double Breakout. 3DS Theme Shop has been updated with Krolor's Yellow-Green theme, JC Towards the Black Meteorite theme, JC Laugh Together theme. I guess this JC stands for Jurassic Cubs. You know this?
Jurassic Cubs?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
There's the Jurassic Cubs and Nickus theme. There's a 3-pack theme.
Hello Kitty?
Hello Kitty during spring theme. Hello Kitty with her friend theme. Her friend Bad Batsmaru. Hello Kitty at the cinema theme.
Oh.
It's Hello Kitty at the cinema with 3D glasses on, if you wanted to know. And Hello Kitty punk rock theme. So she's dressed in punk rock clothing.
All right.
There's also Yoshiwara Lament theme. Popino theme. I love those things. They're delicious. Popino's? Popino's pizza rolls?
Popino's pizza rolls.
Popino's pizza rolls. There's also Rin-chan Now theme. Painter theme. And Alien theme. I almost said Alan. That's a Hatsune Miku theme. So there you go. That's your European downloads. Let's see if you guys like any of that jazz. Rudy C3 says, feels almost paradoxical to see the Wii U getting more stuff than the Switch so soon after launch. But the question is any of it good? All right, so here's the thing I hinted at earlier and said we'll talk about later. Mom Brain.
Yes, my love.
Nintendo, for the fiscal year, was planning to produce 8 million Switch units.
8 million Switch for the fiscal year.
But apparently, in the time that the Switch has been out, Nintendo's like, we're going to need more. So they've bumped up their...
10 millions.
They've bumped up their manufacturing plans. They've doubled the amount they're going to make now for the fiscal year. They want 16 million units produced by the end of their next fiscal year. So their new fiscal year starts April 1st. So come April next year, they're going to have 16 million units produced. So here's the crazy thing. So let's say Nintendo gets all 16 million units out like they want. If Nintendo sells 14 million units or higher, so not produced, but actually sells, that will have already beaten the total install base for the Wii U. So they could do it in a year. So hopefully they're not overestimating here because they're doubling it. You know, they could be like, man, because we're only, 2.5 weeks after Switch launch? It's the 3rd. 2 weeks, 14. Yeah, we're 2 weeks in one day.
I mean, and they're pretty conservative, Nintendo, right? They're not like...
Well, you would think they'd be even more so after the Wii U. But whatever they've seen indicates to them that they should double up. I am not one to judge because I don't know the behind-the-scenes situation. Obviously, you don't want to be left without units to supply people with, and then the holiday season is going to be a big one with Super Mario Odyssey coming out. I don't know. But more units are coming, so you should be able to find one. Chosen One Knuckle says, great news. I have no doubt they'll have beaten Wii U sales by the first anniversary of the Switch next year. I hope you're right, my friend. I hope you are right. I'm not looking for Nintendo to be number one. I would love for them to be number one. I'm not looking for them to be number one. But I would love for them to beat the Wii U sales. I mean, that's a low bar to set because the Wii U didn't do so hot, but you got to start somewhere. So I would love to see it sell more than that. I mean, when you look at the sales between the PS4 and the Xbox One, I believe Xbox One is still below 30 million units sold. And the majority of gamers don't look at Xbox One and think, well, that system's a failure. So if the Switch can get somewhere around 30 million units sold, I think that'd be fantastic and a viable platform. But we'll see. Let's hope it happens. So we had the NPD statistics for this month. But what we're going to focus on is something new here. NPD, for the first time that I know of, has put out specific charts for Wii U and 3DS, which is crazy to me. So we actually have the top 10 Wii U and the top 10 3DS games. We're not going to do guessing here because it's just small brain. Wii U, starting with number 10 and going down to number 1. Poop. Yeah, starting at number 10. All right, it's got to be like that. All right, Mario Kart 8 at number 10, Super Mario 3D World at number 9, Splatoon at 8, New Super Mario Bros. U plus New Super Luigi U at 7, Pokken Tournament at 6, Super Mario Maker at 5, Yoshi's Woolly World at 4, Minecraft at 3, Paper Mario Color Splash at 2, and Smash Bros. At 1. On 3DS, Mario Party Star Rush at 10, Ocarina of Time 3D at 9, Pokemon Omega Ruby at 8, Dragon Quest 8 at 7, Mario Kart 7 at 6, Smash Brothers at 5, Super Mario Maker at 4, Pokemon Moon at 3, Pokemon Sun at 2, and Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World at 1. So people want their Yoshi on either system. I like that. The Yoshi game's really good. So that's cool. I hope each month we get the top 10 like that. And this is the last NPD before Switch data. So next month will be a big month for Nintendo. You can guarantee that The Legend of Zelda is going to be in there. You would hopefully guarantee that the Switch sold the most units of any hardware out there for the month. And then 1-2 Switch could be in there. Bomberman could be in there. You never know. This week we had a new Parents Play. My mom and dad sat down to play Blaster Master Zero. You guys gave a lot of support to last week's episode because it was snipper clips, so thank you very much. But if you liked what you saw last week, that's pretty much what every week is as far as weirdness and funniness and my dad being a strange man. But we're playing Blaster Master Zero this week. And in this episode, so obviously we play the game and we talk about the game. But what else do we talk about? Talk about funny names. We talk about Silence of the Lambs.
Ooh.
We talk about The Exorcist. We talk about long stories. We talk a whole bunch of stuff. And hopefully you think, hopefully those of you that watch it enjoy it. It seems like you do. Out of everything I do for GoNintendo or through GoNintendo, Parents Play, for the people that watch it, is always the most applauded thing that I do. The people that actually watch it really love it, and I greatly appreciate that. So usually whenever I do things, there'll be a mix of whether people like it or not, but by and large, the Parents Play audience, the majority of people that watch it really, really enjoy it. So thank you for that support. If you watched last week's snipper clips, thank you. Give Blaster Master Zero a try. I know the viewership depends on what game they're playing, and I know Snipper Clips is going to get more attention than Blaster Master Zero, but I want to point out Blaster Master Zero is very much worth your attention. Gecko Kitsune says, I've been on the fence about getting this game, but this video might push me over the edge. Yeah, it's a fantastic game. If you're down for old school type of game, it's fantastic. I really enjoy it. Super Mario Run is finally launching on Android.
I like that flank.
Super Mario Run.
Great job.
It hasn't been out on Android, but it's coming out the 23rd. Our friends with Android are finally going to be able to get Super Mario Run. We've had it since December 15th. Now Android people can get it. So on your Android phone, on your Android tablet, whatever you got, you can get it on there. And it's launching alongside the version 2.0 update, which includes some tweaks. It gives you another free level to play if you're only getting the free version, because you can do Bowser challenges, I believe, to unlock another level. And then on top of that, we're getting new characters, but we don't know who. What new characters? I don't know. Don't know. But new characters coming. So the wait is almost over, Android fans. I know it's been a long time. Spagman says, I've been trying to see all the Parents Play videos so I can relax. Well, I hope you find them relaxing, my friend. That's very cool. Miss Fortune says, that's MS Fortune. Get it? Like a lady.
Ms. Fortune.
Yeah. Finally, now we know an Android date. I'll probably pick it up sometime later for my tablet. Well, I hope you enjoy it, because I had fun with it. And then finally today we have our latest rumor, and it's only marked rumor because we don't have like the actual job listing. But the information comes from Joe Merrick, who works for Cerebi, and Cerebi is one of the most widely known and respected Pokemon websites. And this is a Pokemon-related story. Game Freak, the team behind Pokemon, are hiring motion modelers, and their required experience in creating human characters at the Wii U/Vita level as far as intricacy goes. So obviously, this would seem to tie in with the rumor that Pokemon Sun and Moon, like Pokemon Stars, the rumored follow-up, we've heard is coming to the Switch. We don't know it for sure, but this dovetails with that nicely. So again, we don't know if Pokemon Stars is a real thing. We don't know if it's really going to Switch, but we've seen lots of evidence pointing that way, and this latest piece of information also points that way. Low Camp says, as long as they don't take the BioWare route, I think we're gold. LOL. He actually says LEL. Unless that's a new meme I'm not familiar with. Yeah, BioWare. No thanks.
Are we watching porn?
No. He linked to a YouTube video. BioWare, obviously, and EA getting a little bit of flack for how Mass Effect Andromeda is looking. It's not out yet, but it's getting a lot of flack for character animations and facial animations, because they don't seem all that great. I've played all three Mass Effect games. I've never really known them to have great facial animations. They always seem kind of weird. But I've watched a lot of footage of this one, and to me, it seems like they might be worse than what was done before. I have the game pre-ordered. I'm picking it up. I'm a fan of Mass Effect. I like the other ones enough for them to secure my purchase on this one. So, we'll see how this goes, and if it's going to push me away from the series as far as where it goes in the future or not. But I know they're getting a lot of heat this week. And I'm not like, yeah, get on that train. Let's badmouth BioWare and let's badmouth EA and Mass Effect, because I deal with that every day with Nintendo. So why would I wish that on any other company? It's not, I don't know the story. I would imagine EA's not out to be like, let's make a crappy game. Get out there, BioWare, because, it's a team that hasn't worked, or by and large hasn't worked on the other Mass Effect games. There are some team members that were involved in the other ones, but new team pretty much, because BioWare proper is working on something else. But like I said, I'm a fan of the series. I don't wish anybody any ill will. I hate seeing that stuff where people like crap all over games before they even come out. Like, we can look at the footage and be like, yeah, it looks a little rough. It looks like something's up. I might not pick up the game. I'm a little hesitant about it. I'll wait for reviews. Totally fine. But like BioWare sucks. Their game looks terrible. I'm not wasting my money on, like, it's pointless. If you're someone that says you don't like hearing that stuff about Nintendo, I would hope that you're not someone that acts that way when it comes to other companies as well. But that's my soapbox chat.
Oh.
Mom Brain.
That was very close.
Does that sound like a punch? Not really. Gotta.
You're gonna actually punch me.
Yeah, right. That is how it would work. Let's talk about what we played.
Okay.
Mom Brain, do you want to talk about what you played?
I played Breath of the Wild this week.
So Mom Brain had 2 snow days this week because she is a teacher, if you don't know. And they just don't have to go to work, I guess. One day it snowed, and one day it didn't. And they were just like, don't go with this thing either.
Listen, they had to clear like the parking lots and stuff. And you know, those buses, we got kids that live on like back roads, and those buses can't get through.
Thanks, Malik Halo. I see that comment. You jerk.
What?
He's talking about Mass Effect because I killed Rex by accident. Anyway.
So, well, I didn't get to play both days all day because I had to freaking snow blow the neighborhood.
I feel like you played all day.
Well, it started.
I feel like every day, either when I got up. Yeah, every day when I got up, I feel like you were playing. I'd be like, "Where are you?" I knew you were home because the car was here, and then I'd hear like sound effects. I'm like, "Oh, she's playing Zelda."
Link eating. That's what I do a lot. Link is eating a lot. Well, so I have this injury that I'm rehabbing.
Listen.
And I'm not supposed to be on my feet. I'm supposed to be resting.
You don't have to make excuses for playing.
But I'm just saying that this is fit in really nicely. I'm supposed to be off my feet. So it all started last weekend because I decided I was going to start playing. And the tradition is that my very good friend and college roommate, Lisa, we used to play together. I played my first Zelda game with her, Ocarina of Time. And then we played Wind Waker together and so on and so forth. So she came up so that we could play. And we had a great time, like a great time. We didn't sleep, actually, Saturday night into Sunday at all. We went to bed.
You went to bed at 6.
Well, we went to bed at 6:30 a.m. Sunday morning, which was great. And then we slept until like 11, and then we watched a little QVC, and then we played some more. But
a lot more. You played like all day.
Yeah, we like ordered a pizza. We were sitting there playing. She's like, "You want a pizza?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's get Domino's."
Yeah. Meanwhile, they turned my game room into like a garbage den.
A dorm room. It was like a dorm room.
It was filled with cookie wrappers and candy wrappers and chip bags and empty soda cans. And
I was drinking kombucha and eating organic cookies. Thank you very much.
Cookies are cookies.
I was trying to make sure it wasn't too unhealthy.
And there were like blankets and pillows all over the place. I was like, Jesus Christ.
It was so great. And then, so I played Saturday and I played Sunday. Monday was school. And then we had the blizzard Tuesday and Wednesday. So I played all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday. And then I played again last night and a little bit today so far. I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface of the game. I don't want to give away too many details.
Okay.
I don't want to be spoily.
Well, how many divine beasts have you beaten?
One divine beast.
What one? The Zora
Ruta,
one?
the elephant.
Yeah.
And that, well, I won't say anything.
Joe Shabadoo says, I'm playing it right now. He says, I'm around 110 hours. Truly special game. He says somebody he just met, but I don't want to say who.
This is somebody I've met? I've meted?
Kim says this guy lost his gamer room. Doom.
So I've been really enjoying myself. I feel like this Zelda game really is clicking for me. Lisa and I really enjoyed how we could sort of go about things the way we wanted to, the way we were comfortable.
Oh, you certainly do.
Why do we have to do it the way you think it should be done? Like, why are we weird?
You don't. No.
You're talking like we're weirdos.
No, I'm talking about how, like, you can do it however you want, but watching you guys is rough because you think of like grandiose, like multi-step solutions to puzzles, and then you're like, oh wait, we could just walk over here, something like that. Like, so you spend like 45 minutes like setting up this like crazy solution that needs to be like exactly like to a T perfect to have any chance of working, and then you're like, oh wait, we could just do this.
Imagine what it was like when we lived together.
I know, yeah.
Like dinner time.
Brant says he's pushing 200 hours in the game. I'm definitely at 100 hours at the very least. I know that.
I don't know that we've even scratched 50. I've even scratched 50. Oh, I love the game. I think it's great. I'd highly recommend it. Well, perhaps it might be a good way to expose someone who hasn't gamed before but is interested in gaming. They might want to watch and it might interest them. Or maybe you have them like, you know, just like do some of the walking around or some of like the side quests. It might be a little intimidating for somebody who's never played a game before.
Yes, it would be intimidating. Not exactly a game you should jump into if you're a first-time gamer, but yes, it might entice you by seeing it.
Yeah. It's really, really, I mean, I don't, there's nothing I can add to the conversation here that hasn't already been said about how wonderful it is.
How much did you like, without spoiling it, that dungeon, that divine beast? People get very mad when you call them dungeons.
I liked how it was like reimagined.
Hello, the wolf.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like, I like how it was a Zelda dungeon, but kind of like reimagined.
No, don't say that. People get mad. This game doesn't have dungeons, I say.
Okay.
It has divine beasts.
Okay. Well, I
felt like that divine beast was one of the most amazing dungeons that I've ever done in a Zelda game. The way it all came, because that was the one I did first.
Me too.
And the way it came together. Man, I just really liked it. The whole idea of like operating the dungeon itself while being within the dungeon.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Have you done more than one divine beast?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was eating a Snickers. I hate that commercial. The acting is so bad.
A Milky Way? I was eating a Milky
Whatever.
Way.
Is it Milky Way? I don't even know. That's terrible.
I was eating a Milky Way.
Yeah, that sounds more right.
I think so.
Boy, I thought I would have been angry at Snickers.
I love a Milky Way.
Gotta pay attention.
Milky Way Midnight, by the way, if you've never had one.
She's right. I didn't have them, and then I tried one because she said they were so good. Yeah, I'd take that over a regular Milky Way.
I could just
eat them while I play Zelda.
Oh my god. No, I would get your controller all chocolatey.
Deontay says, I just got to the first dungeon. Been playing for almost 50 hours. Yeah, that's about how it went for me. Is that it? Is that all you want to say?
I think so.
So yeah, I'm still playing The Legend of Zelda, and I'm still going all over the place and collecting things. And I'm, like I said, I'm over 100 hours, and I don't have any intentions of stopping anytime soon. And I still find new things to do, and I still find new places, and I still have shrines to find, and obviously Korok seeds to collect, and I'm really loving it. It's really taking my time away from every other game, and I have a lot of other games I want to try. The only other thing I played this week was Blaster Master Zero, because I was playing that while I was editing the Parents Play. Because when I go to render the video, it takes a while. So I set up the Switch on tabletop mode. Yes, I'm a crazy person. I used the kickstand, and it was fine. Well, I played it. So when I was editing videos this week, both the Parents Play and the talking points, I set up my Switch in tabletop mode, and I was playing Blaster Master because I didn't really want to get into Zelda because, you know, I didn't have too much time. So I'm playing Blaster Zero. Man, I like that game. I feel like Zelda and Blaster Master are like the perfect companion games to each other because Zelda's like the evolution of the Zelda franchise, and Blaster Master is like very old school and rooted in its traditions, and you know there haven't been a ton of installments in that series, but yeah, if you like old school NES games, Blaster Master Zero really feels like an old school NES game. and I mean that as a compliment. There are games that look old school and play old school, but they don't have that old school vibe to them, like Shovel Knight. I love Shovel Knight to death. It looks 8-bit. It plays like an old school game, but there's something about it that I don't get an old school vibe from it. Blaster Master Zero, I get that vibe. It feels like this really could have been on the NES. There's something about the sensibilities in the game, and like something about the way the graphics were handled, and like all of it together really gives me that Blaster Master, or really gives me that old school feeling. Yeah, Blaster Master Zero. If you're into old school games, or if you're into just the retro aesthetic, and you're on the fence with this game, don't be. I'm playing it on Switch. I haven't played it on 3DS, but Switch version is fantastic, and now it has Pro Controller support if you want that. Travis says, I really do get that old school vibe from Blaster Master Zero. I buy that for $1. Says, Breath of the Wild, Blaster Master Zero, and Spectre of Torment are the best games on Switch right now. Get them! Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, man, Blaster Master Zero is really doing it for me. It's so well done. I love Inti Creates. Inti Creates is up there with Way Forward for me, for that old school, more simplistic approach to gaming. And again, I don't mean simplistic as a knock. I mean it in a good way. They're just really down to like core elements of games, like why I started playing video games. Like the elements that I found fun then are still fun now, because when they're done right, they're fun. So, yeah, I know. Sam says, I hope they put hard mode in Blaster Master and take away the checkpoint. Yeah, the one thing they did to make it easier for gamers today is add in checkpoints, because gamers today are babies. So they need checkpoints.
Whoa!
But, you know, a modern concession I understand, because, you know, people would be bitching about that. So, yeah, that's where my time has been, Zelda and Blaster Master, and I could not be happier. My other systems are getting very neglected. I haven't played the 3DS in a while. I haven't played my PS4 in a very long time. And Xbox One was being neglected by me long before that, just because if it's coming out on both versions, or if it's coming out on PS4 and Xbox One, I usually get PS4. But yeah, the Switch is in the spotlight for me right now. It's stealing the limelight. And it's going to be that way for a long time, because now I got The Binding of Isaac, which I want to get into. I want to re-download the World of Goo, or purchase again World of Goo, like I said. Snake Pass is next week? The week after? I don't remember. I think Snake Pass is the week after. I think it's the 29th, but there's something else next week that I want. Just like over and over and over. And then Mario Kart 8 Deluxe comes out. Switch is going to have my attention for a very good time. Oh, yeah, that's something I should bring up really quickly. I might do a talking points on this. I just don't know if I feel like an asshole or not. So Polygon put up an article, and they were like, again, I'm paraphrasing, but the headline, I think, read something along the lines of, the Switch's launch lineup is secretly great.
Secretly?
And I put out a tweet that says, it's not a secret if you were paying attention. Because here's the thing. I don't know if I should do a talking points about just this whole notion. Because it wouldn't be about Polygon. Polygon would be the jumping point, and it'd be about all of that together. The launch titles for Switch all together, and the approach that some outlets took. But like, I feel kind of crappy using that as a jumping point, because while I think it's silly that Polygon wasn't paying attention to the Switch launch lineup close enough to know that the games were great, because, you know, they're a video game website. They're supposed to be paying attention to that stuff. It's not like, oh my God, look. But then again, they could be writing the headline from the perspective of, hey, people that aren't paying attention to the Switch launch lineup is secretly great. So they could play it off. It's not us saying it. It's us telling you guys you don't know.
What
but
are people?
Hold on. Let me get this thought out before I lose it. So when I come down to the zero sum of it all, it's them telling people the Switch has a great launch lineup, which is a good thing. So I don't want to like poop on that. Yes, Mumry. Why do people?
Well, okay. So obviously Nintendo's not dumb, and they're aware, and they've got people whose job it is.
They are dumb in some ways, but yes.
Well, I mean, so am I.
Everybody is. Yeah, I agree.
But they've probably got people or a person whose job it is to keep an eye on this stuff, right? And like
Keep
monitor
an eye
what's
on
being
what?
said out there about the Switch and Nintendo.
Yeah.
And like, you know,
What's your point?
like what do they do when they
What does
see that?
who
Like
do?
Nintendo. Like so you know, it's Ralph's job to watch the Twitter and the Facebook.
I get it. You said all this. What
And,
are you saying?
And
though?
Ralph sees this stuff, and
Yeah.
he brings it to whoever. Like, what isn't it? Do the people who are writing this stuff, do they think Nintendo's like, oh my God, look what they said? They said a bad thing about us.
I'm
Let's fix
completely
it.
missing your point.
Well, I guess my point is like, why are people like making up these like backhanded compliments, or like, why are they saying bad things about the Switch in like snarky ways? Like, what?
Because that is the internet at large. Snark. It's all about snark. It's not just the gaming side of things, although it is very prevalent in gaming. Snark is the language of the internet.
Why?
Because
like, what are we doing so wrong in the world that this is happening? Really, because we talk about this at school. I mean, I know this isn't really.
you can't. There are just certain things you can't. There's certain things by and large where they aren't like, they don't get the same respect that other things do just because. So like Nintendo, they don't make mature games as far as rated mature, and they don't make a lot of first-person shooters or stuff like that. They make a lot of games that are colorful, so they're seen as
because like I could argue Breath of the Wild, no kid would enjoy that. No like little kid would enjoy that.
You would be wrong, but see, like what you're saying is like what people on the internet do, just the opposite end.
Well, I could see like little kids just being like,
I was just reading
something.
I was just reading something about a 3-year-old playing it and like loving it because they were watching their dad play it. And somebody else, what were they saying? They said they wanted to play like the box moving game or something like that. And they were talking about Zelda. They were like, Daddy, I want to play the box moving game, because somebody was picking up the boxes and throwing them around. And just that got the little kid interested in it. But yeah, it's all about snark. That's what it is.
I just because this is like
there are certain companies, like if you're covering video games, there are certain companies you can't often come out and say flat out praise. You have to be backhanded.
People won't think you're cool.
Yeah, you have to be backhanded with it. So like, this is what's going on with Zelda. So Zelda gets, this is another talking points video I'm considering doing. Zelda gets the most perfect scores on Metacritic ever.
Right.
Very highly praised and reviewed game.
Right.
So that was boom, day one. And I was like, well, knowing Nintendo and being a Nintendo fan and being on the internet for a very long time now, I know this praise is going to last for about, I say 4 days or so.
Till like the majority of people get their hands
By the end of the week, there were, review scores that went in the complete opposite direction, or like 6 out of 10 or whatever. That's fine. If
Just
that's what they were, I don't know. But if that's what they think, like all those scores that were 6 out of 10 came out within 24 hours of each other.
Right.
But if that's what they think, that's fine. I'm not saying because they gave it a 6 out of 10, they're wrong. I'm not saying that at all. Just saying, here we go. But then the real stuff started. The discussion of, so Nintendo gets a game that's really highly reviewed and really highly regarded. So what's the conversation that follows up after that? Outlets start doing articles and podcasts and interviews where they're like, is there such a thing as the Nintendo bump? So the Nintendo bump is Zelda's getting such high reviews because it's Nintendo. If this game was on other systems, it wouldn't get reviewed that high. So now Nintendo can't enjoy the high review scores because now we have to say this is a manufactured high score. They're getting 10s because it's Nintendo. Any other system, it would not get a 10. So somebody was like, Splatoon. Splatoon's a terrible game. If it came out on other systems, it's not innovative and it doesn't do anything different. It wouldn't have gotten anywhere near the praise it did. but because it's on a Nintendo platform and Nintendo made it, it gets tons of praise. So this cuts out, you know, the sales of the game, because the majority of people that buy a video game aren't going to buy it because of the review scores. They're going to buy it because they saw it and they're interested in it. So you're talking about what, like 4 million in sales for Splatoon, something like that. And we're going to say that's all because of the artificial Nintendo bump. Are there people who review Nintendo games because they are Nintendo? Are there people who review Nintendo games better / higher because it's Nintendo? Yes. Are there people who review them poorly because of Nintendo? Yes. That's always going to be the case. But the large portion of reviewers are honest with their reviews. They're telling the truth. They're not letting personal bias get in the way. There's always going to be outliers on both ends, and they're both wrong. But to say, is there a Nintendo bump, is also like saying, do my fellow reviewers lie all the time? Yes. Yes, they do. Like, you're disrespecting the people that put in the hard work to do the reviews. Again, there are reviewers that do that stuff, but by and large, the majority don't. And then on top of that, you don't get like, is Uncharted 4 reviewed greatly because of the Sony bump? I haven't seen any article like that. There might be one out there, but I'm talking about multiple successive articles about Nintendo, how there being a Nintendo / Zelda bump. But like, are there ones for, you know, whatever, Call of Duty? Is this the Call of Duty bump? Or I don't know. And again, I don't just focus on Nintendo. I watch everything. So I'm sure those articles are out there, but it seems like Nintendo really gets them. So yeah, I just think it's disrespectful to the people that review the games, because you're going to talk about how there's a bump in the review scores just because people want to see Nintendo do well, and people want to artificially inflate their Zelda review scores. So yeah, that's a talking point I'm thinking about doing. It's just very hard to approach because
I think you kind of just did it.
No, I want to, like, when I do the talking points, I want to get together all the articles and all
erase board in the background.
all the specifics and everything like that. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not, because it's what I know it's one of those topics that people are just going to turn into a disgusting discussion in the comment section,
right.
And I don't want that. Not discussing about Nintendo. I'm not like, I can't hear anything bad about Nintendo.
Right.
I mean, like, it's going to turn into a flame war between people, and I don't want that. I don't want to make something that causes that.
And it's not going to what end? Like, what are people going
to what end? Yeah.
Snark.
But yeah, internet and snark without a doubt. All right, well, that's today's podcast.
Okay, well.
What, did you have something to say? You can go ahead.
No, it's fine. You're just so special.
See, there you go. This is it. It's bleeding into everyday life.
No.
All right. Yeah, that's today's show. That's all I got to say.
Well, this is good timing because I got to pee again. So.
Thanks. It was a pleasure. Well, I'll do the after show. I'd buy that for $1. I will answer your question in the after show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, folks.
All right, after show.
Here we are.
Let me export this, and then we'll get going. All right, so I'd buy that for $1. Says, do you ever get any responses from people from whom you do video rebuttals? Well, isn't this an interesting question?
I gotta pee.
The specific subjects I have done rebuttal videos for. No, I have not heard. Yes, that's a lie. I have. So Jim Sterling, I have not. Colin Moriarty, I have not. And I'll let you figure out the rest. But have there been discussions with people closely tied to those people? Yes. And I'm not going to name names. But yes, there's been lots of discussions from very surprising people who I can't talk about because it's not right to talk about them. But I can tell you, yeah, there's been many a discussion. There's been emails, tweets, and direct phone calls about stuff, which is always pleasant. But yeah, so now you know. And I don't not. And if you've seen my rebuttal videos, you know I do them, and I try to be as calm and kind and level-headed as possible, and I have no ill will towards the person that I'm rebutting. Like Jim Sterling, not my cup of tea. I do respect that he has a very unique perspective on the industry, and I think he has a very great mind for stuff. I think he has a great mind for the industry. I think he has a really unique approach to looking at situations, and I think he makes interesting points without a doubt. But his approach, his overall character of snarky, just I guess you call it snarky. It's not my cup of tea. Like, because you get enough of that on the internet as it is from real life people. I don't need a character that's snarky as well. But that's just me. Like, no ill will, nothing bad to say about him. Just not my cup of tea when it comes to that character. I'd love to talk to Jim the person. That would be, I think that'd be a really interesting and fantastic conversation without like all the hyperbole and all the like, you know, offhand jokes and, you know, zingers and stuff like that. Like an honest, open discussion about video games, be whatever, Nintendo or anything else. I think that would be really interesting. Maybe one day I'll get to do that. Who knows? Colin Moriarty, another one. I know he's in a whole bunch of hot water lately, and I'm not talking about any of the other stuff he's involved with. I'm just literally talking about his one video about Nintendo. That's all I am commenting on, because I'm not, I cover video games. I don't cover politics or any of that stuff. So I'm not even commenting on that. And don't take that as me saying I agree or disagree with him. I'm not saying any of that. I'm only talking about his comments on Nintendo. Again, I feel he's very snarky, and I feel like in my videos, I give my opinion. In his videos, he gives his opinion, but the air he comes across with is like, here's my opinion, and you're wrong if you think differently, and I don't understand how you could think differently. In my videos, I'm like, here's my opinion. This is why I think Colin is incorrect, but I'm not saying I'm right either. So it's hard. It's hard doing that stuff because I'm not confrontational and I'm not out to cause trouble. But I do feel that there are videos that I want to address. So I know the voice of someone that tries to be level-headed, isn't snarky, isn't angry, and tries to respect the other person, isn't one that gets a lot of traction on the internet because the internet loves the drama and all that stuff. But for those of you that watch those videos, I appreciate it. Like with real life, like us and our friends, we're incredibly like snarky to each other because we've known each other for a bazillion years, and we all know we're joking.
Yeah.
But like the snarkiness, I wouldn't be like that on the internet because I'm not a snarky person. Would you say I'm a snarky person?
No, not at all.
You know, like, and we use a certain tone when we're talking with friends, when we're using the snarky attitude, where it's completely obvious it's a joke. But again, it's just with friends, people we've known for 20 plus years. And we're not serious in any way. The snarky tone that's on the internet is very serious, for the most part, very serious. They're being used to convey a serious message. And if you're using snark to try and convey your point, for me, your point gets lost because I feel it muddies. You may have a fantastic point. I feel the snark in there muddies what you're trying to do. I feel like, yes, it gets more attention on you, and yes, it gets more eyes on you. I get that because that's what people like. But for me, to take that approach, it makes me less. Let's put it this way. If you had a really smart point and you made it in a very snarky way, I wouldn't really be excited to share that content with people. I might tell someone like a point that was made by the person that was snarky, but I wouldn't be like, watch their video. I'd be like, yeah, they kind of come across in a tone that's off-putting for me, but I feel they have some good points in there. Like, I feel like you should make your points. Just make your points. There's nothing wrong with, like, nobody has to do it. People can do things however they want. And obviously I'm in the minority here when it comes to the snarkiness and all that stuff. And I'm not saying any of it's wrong. I'm just saying me personally, not for me, not really snarky.
No. Don't
really enjoy it. Feel like the internet and the world at large has enough assholes. I don't need people playing characters that are assholes.
That's probably one of the least desirable personalities I could think of
Snarkiness?
being with. You know, because you just feel like you're never never really getting honesty because you feel it. I feel as though the snark is just constantly like, it's snark at all costs. Like if you're an asshole, you're an asshole, right?
It's because
like
they have like an air of I'm better than you.
Yeah, and there's just nothing like sometimes if there's a person who's an asshole, sometimes you can get through, but snark is just
sometimes you can get through that asshole.
But if there's a snark, I feel as though there's just nothing you could do to get around that. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
Like an asshole, you could be like, you know what? You're right. Kittens should die. Like, okay, you could just get there with them and then be fine. But snark would be like, well, why are you saying that? Why do you all of a sudden agree with me about that? Why did you change your mind? Like,
do you know people that want to kill kittens?
Probably.
Travis says, you not being an asshole is one of the most endearing traits about you. Never lose it. I won't. I promise. I may feel defeated some days, and I may feel dismayed, and I may feel let down, and I may feel disappointed and saddened, but I will not become an asshole. I promise. You stupid idiot. All right, that's it. That was interesting after show discussion. Yes.
Are you flinging me off?
I need this hand to end the show.
Oh.
Thanks for. I mean, I could try. Nope.
Oh no, that's weird.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I appreciate the time you spent with us. I hope you have a lovely weekend. I hope you've been having fun playing games and all that jazz. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend. We will see you come next Saturday.
Yeah.
No death to kittens.
No.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.